Hi, guys. Welcome to Vivid Vibes Podcast, where we talk about information for your soul's vibration. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jada, and today we'll be talking about COVID 19 and ways that you can move to a place of peace during this pandemic. I know a lot of us are locked down, a lot of us are in a place of fear right now, and we kind of just want to talk about what we think is going on and what you can do with this time.
Right. Now, a lot of us are in self quarantine. Um, we're recording this episode, for instance, in a different manner than what we usually do. But you know what? We're still staying connected. I think this is very important.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, like don't just don't just hunker down and ignore everyone. Use FaceTime, use Skype, use all of these awesome tools that we have to be able to connect with the people around you because the one good thing about this is that nobody's going through this alone. We're all going through this together. We're all experiencing this together and yeah.
Yeah.
So Laura, you did a card reading on this, right?
Right. I did.
And would you just share with us kind of like the conclusions you came to about why you think this is happening?
Right. So, yes, while I was still being pretty okay and chill about all this, the fear or the anxieties about the situation were still pretty low key. I did a tarot card reading to see, like, okay, as things are progressing, things are building up, what is the bigger picture we are meant to see from all of this. So, using my tarot cards, the basically the cards were telling me that there is more beyond what we see here. There is a bigger lesson at hand. Basically, we can take this opportunity to be present with ourselves. I mean, obviously, now that we're kind of all in self quarantine, now we really are. We're totally present with ourselves. We have to take this opportunity to reflect inwardly, to see and address internal issues that we might have been repressing or ignoring for some time. Um, and with that, it's scary, of course. It's not necessarily a comfortable journey to go on, but it is very necessary to address these things in order to grow and expand. Because I think we're now at a turning point in humanity's evolution where now what happens after this is up in the air. It's up to us to find what we need to find most important in order to evolve and be where we need to be for the greatest good, the highest good of all, not just us on an individual level. I mean, it starts with an individual, all of us doing our own part to reflect inwardly. But at that point, if we're all doing this collectively, that is shifting the collective consciousness of humanity in a higher vibration.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people are feeling called to kind of just, at least the healers that I know and the people who are of service, are feeling this intense desire to help other people right now and to create and to work on these projects that they've been wanting to work on for a long time. But the message that I'm receiving, or that I've been receiving over the last few days, is that we can before we can be of service to other people, we have to take the time on an individual basis to fill our own cups up. We have to take that time to slow down and turn inward and say, how am I feeling right now? And get real with yourself, Like
Oh,
if
yeah.
you are feeling scared, like let that come up and then face it and say, okay, fear, I see you, like you're here, but I am ready to feel at peace during this time. And then maybe counting the things that you're grateful for right now. Like, how freaking lucky are we that our self quarantine is us chilling on the couch watching Netflix, eating some snacks?
That's exactly right. Oh,
And
yeah.
like, I totally resonate with what you're saying as well about holding a vision for how we want things to be, because that's a message I've been receiving too, that if we're super focused on how this could negatively end, we as a collective are manifesting constantly, whether we realize that or not.
Yes.
If you're sitting on your couch and you're continuously watching the news, all you're doing at this point is filling yourself up with fear. Take a moment and tune inward and think, okay, in a year, how do I want things to be? And like, what can I do right now to feed that vision? Because when it comes to people being out of work, people not having money to pay their bills, we're all going through that. It's not just like you're going through it alone. Everybody's going through that. So if we can face those feelings and then we can move into a place of saying, okay, this is how I want things to be, and really focus on that when you're feeling shitty and focus on gratitude when you're feeling shitty, it's going to make this process a lot easier and a lot more helpful, honestly, I think.
Yeah. Well, I agree. And I find it so interesting, all this coming up right now. For the last year, because I'll state this again for our listeners that might not know it, I'm a sensitive. I pick up on certain energies, and I don't fully see pictures of what's to come for the future. That I'm not like a fortune teller in that sense. But picking up on energies has allowed me to kind of fill in the blanks or where things may lead to. And I've been feeling for some time now a great shift is coming. 2020 being the year of great transition and change. 2019 was a very hard year for a lot of people, to go through all kinds of issues that they needed to go through in order to be prepared for this year, in order to manifest what we want for ourselves. And on a subconscious level, the collective of humanity has also been wanting great change. It's like we're tired of the same old things that have disappointed us. And here we are now, kind of being thrown into probably one of the biggest changes we could ever go through, as things have been for so long. You know what? This is not the same as things have been. So it's,
No, definitely not.
yeah.
I think I think a lot of people had that vision of, 2020 is going to be this year of change, this year where things are collectively shifting, and I have heard that from like several people in the spiritual community,
Hmm.
and it's just really interesting to see how intense this is, and also to see people's priorities. Like,
Oh, yeah.
how weird is it that it wasn't toilet, or it wasn't like fruit or vitamins or water, or
You're right.
like it was fucking toilet paper. Like,
First thing to
how
go, toilet paper. Who would have thought?
right, like how weird is that? I don't know.
I
It
guess
kind
if
of
you're
just
stuck with yourself, you don't want to deal with your own shit.
Oh my god.
But am I right or am I right?
Yeah. I mean, can we talk too about like the amazing effects that this is having on the planet? The effect that us being inside is having on nature is incredible. I've seen pictures of the Venice Canal and it's like clear and there's dolphins and swans in it.
Right, the other thing I saw, like, wild boars are roaming the streets. Like
Right? Like,
like
what is that?
wow, nature doesn't waste no time.
Right? Like, it's almost like we don't realize the effect. Like, I think a lot of people, especially in our generation, do realize the effect that we're having on nature, but
Mhm.
us being inside really lets us see the contrast of like, oh, hey, like
Oh,
Nature
my
starts.
presence affects nature.
Right, right. Like, not just, what big companies are doing, but, like, us on an individual basis, what us driving our cars every day is doing, you know?
Right. And I mean, of course, I think the collective of humanity and the new culture as the years have gone by, everybody's trying to get out. They're knowing, okay, there's things to do, people to see, places to go. And that's just the culture we live in. And so we all do that. We're all doing that. And not realizing, okay, as the years go by, the population is increasing. The more and more people are doing that, it is having an effect. Now, we have to kinda moderate that. This is eye-opening, to a lot of people seeing that, like, "Oh gosh." And I think this is also gonna make people realize, like, "What can I do that's, less impactful on our environment? How can I get creative at home, where I'm at, being present with me and my resources?" What do we come up with? How do we get that creative inspiration when times are tough? And this, I'm hoping, comes out as we continue. Like when this is all wrapped up and done with, how do we maintain these new insights we found and carry that over to where our society's going after the threat is gone?
Yeah, totally. I think a lot of people, especially in Western society, have this mindset of like hustle, 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 go, go, go.
Right.
And I even noticed within my friend group, and my close friend Constance was saying to me that she noticed that all of her friends were overworking themselves before this. And
Oh,
now,
yeah.
and now it's like we're being forced to chill. And mo
Yeah.
most people don't know how to chill. Like, we have no chill.
Right. That's something I've been
So
reflecting on too, like things that I'm realizing that I wasn't fully conscious of, thanks to this. Like for the last week, I'm sitting at home, I'm trying to limit my outings, and I'm here with my 5-year-old son. And so now I'm taking the opportunity to step back and do all these fun arts and crafts projects that my inner child would have loved to do back in the day, or actually things I used to do when I was a child. But as I grew up and as I had more responsibilities put on my plate, that kind of gets pushed aside. It's not prioritized. It's not as important anymore. You have to hustle, you have to go to work, you have to do something that's productive and something that's giving back to the community. But you know what? I feel so much more at peace when I'm just giving myself what I feel like I need to be doing, and it really doesn't have to have this, like, it doesn't have to accumulate to anything that goes out publicly. Just sitting
right.
down, like, we're building a a little city out of cardboard boxes and plastic bottles, you know?
Aw.
It's cute and it's fun, and of course, it's not for anybody other than us. It's something for us to do, and that feels more meaningful than anything else I've been pressuring myself to be doing. And I think a lot of people might be finding that right now.
Yeah, I think with this whole wave of entrepreneurship and this whole like work from home digital nomad kind of wave that's happened over the last few years, a lot of people think that, oh, well, if I create art, it needs to be something I can sell. Or if
Mhm.
I create music, it needs to be good enough for me to sell. And like, anything anybody's good at, they didn't just wake up good at. Like Jake the dog from Adventure Time says, sucking at something is the first step to being sort of good at something. Like, if you want
Mhm.
to try something new, now is the time. Now is the time to like sit down and paint a painting just because you feel like painting, even if it looks like your dog walked on a canvas. like
Yeah.
just let yourself express yourself. Let yourself have that freedom to just slow down and do something that makes you feel good. So this all kind of comes back to Yes, this is a great time to learn something new, but this all really is coming back to self-care. So that's something that I would like to get into,
Yes,
um,
you were
is
telling me the other
self-care.
day about an exercise that people could do.
I don't remember what you're talking about. Oh, I do remember what you're talking about. Um, oh my god. Okay, so I did this exercise in my journal because the day that I found out that both of my jobs were closed, I woke up with this immense amount of fear. And I think that's something that a lot of people are feeling right now is just fear. Fear of not being able to pay their bills, fear of not being able to have the resources that they need, money, food, toilet paper.
Right.
Um, so I made this list in my journal, and it was like a chart. So on one side, I wrote everything, every fear that I had at that moment. And then on the left side, I wrote one thing I was learning from each of those fears. So I'm sitting on my bed right now with my nightstand. For those of you who are listening, we're doing this episode remotely right now.
Yep, doing the self-quarantine thing.
Let's see here. I gotta find the right page.
No worries. Yeah, I do miss seeing your pretty face, Jada.
Oh, I miss you too. I saw this thing that said last time I saw you, I should have hugged you tighter, and I thought of you.
Oh, Jada.
You give such good hugs.
Oh, thank you, Jada. It's good quality hugs. Everybody get that in right now. Like with the
Yes.
people that you are stuck in quarantine with, hug them tighter. Hold on
Yes.
longer, even though they probably
Yes.
CDC doesn't recommend that, but still, if they're in the house with you, fuck it. And remember, when you come out of this, hug everybody you know more and more.
Yep. So, let's see. One of the fears was the grocery store won't have enough food for me. And the lesson from that is I must be more independent from the store and grow food and buy livestock.
Right.
So, like,
Yeah.
after this is over, best believe I'm planting a garden and buying some chickens, cuz
Yeah.
like it's like you don't realize how dependent you are on the government, on the store, on all of that until it's taken away from you. Like you really don't know what you have until it's gone.
Right.
Another thing on my list was the fear was I won't see my family for a long time. And the lesson was do not procrastinate visiting loved ones. See them as often as possible. So, like, an example of this is my grandparents. I was supposed to go visit them at Christmas time, but they both had the flu. So I waited, and I was supposed to do a photography contract over near where they live. So this month, actually, I was supposed to be over there, and I kind of just put it off and put it off for like a week or so, and bam, all this stuff happened. And maybe it's good that it happened the way it did because they say young people can be carrying this for like 2 weeks and
Right.
not know that they're carrying it,
Mhm.
but it just it's a really big eye opener that, like, if we care about our loved ones, then we do need to go visit them because even if there's not a pandemic, life is short. You really honestly never know what's going to happen. But yeah, that exercise is super simple to do. Just on the left side of the paper, you write everything you're worried about, every little thing. And then on the right side, you write your lessons from it. And then when you take a step back and look at it, you're like, look at all of these lessons. Like, I am learning so much from this. This is a
Yeah.
growing experience. And it's like that Tony Robbins quote says, life is happening for me, not to me. This
That's
whole
right.
thing is all about how we're perceiving it. If
Yeah.
we're stuck in this victim mindset of woe is me, life is happening to me, shit's gonna be even harder than it already is.
Right.
Everybody's going through this right now. We're all experiencing this together.
We
So
are.
if we can just do our best to focus on how this is helping us grow as a planet, as a
Mhm.
community and as individuals, then I think this has the potential to be a beautiful growth experience.
I agree. And it's so funny though. I think about all the tarot readings I give to people or have given them in the past, like the biggest thing that I almost always end up telling them is like the universe has a funny way of giving us what we need, not exactly what we want.
Yep,
And this is definitely probably one of those situations. Ugh.
totally. So, kind of getting back to self care, I kind of just want to, like, let's just talk about some ways that we like doing self care because right now it's like you got to take care of yourself, or like if you're in California, like California, Ohio, New
Mhm.
York, like places where people are quarantined, or even if you're self quarantining, self-care is so 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 important right now
Mhm.
because I mean, think of yourself as your child, you know? The way that you eat, like feeding yourself as if you were your own child. That's a great like self-care self I can't talk. Self-care tip that I actually got from an article I read after a breakup once. But
Mhm. But
it
it's
said,
true.
yeah, like feed yourself as if you were your own child. Cook yourself some delicious healthy food. That's when was the last time you had the time to like just relax and make yourself like a bomb ass meal?
Right. And that's the thing. So many people, their normal habits, they're going to work, they work full-time jobs, and they're away from home. And now, like on top of that, do you have the time to come home and make your meals the same, like with all that energy? No, you're usually exhausted. This is that prime opportunity to really just like do all these little things that you kind of wish you could do on your own. And
Yeah,
now
absolutely.
you got the time for it for sure.
Yeah. So I personally was one of those people who was feeling like, oh shit, I have this like soul mission. I need to help people find peace during this time. And then I realized, wait a minute, I don't feel at peace. How am I
Right.
supposed to help other people feel at peace? So I've actually been having cacao ceremonies every day for like 4 days now.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. So yesterday I had a cacao ceremony. And for those of you who are not familiar with the cacao ceremony, you make a drink uh, out of pure cacao, and you can mix it with like honey and cayenne pepper and different things. So I made myself a cup of cacao, and then I set the intention. When you have a cacao ceremony, typically you set an intention before you drink it. So I set the intention to move from a heart centered place and to take peaceful, inspired action. And as I was sitting in my backyard intentionally sipping this cacao, I realized, okay, I need to take an evening of self care. I need to take an evening to just nourish my soul, to fill my own cup up. Because it's when we take the time to fill our own cups that that overflow can spill over to everyone else.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I had my little cacao ceremony. Sometimes I like to finish my cacao ceremonies with a blah, 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 one woman dance party. Because I just feel like it's kind of like the icing on the cake. Like you're like, yeah, universe, I'm ready to manifest this. You're just like moving your body. It just feels good.
I
Um,
did the same thing the other day because randomly one of my favorite obscure bands came out with a brand new song.
nice.
And so I'm blaring that in the kitchen as I'm like doing the same thing, dancing with new music. I'm like, hey, okay, there's something good that came out of this.
Yes, like it sounds so silly, but honestly, it's so therapeutic to just dance your ass off for like one song or more. If you want to dance for more, great. But like moving your body, it's just so like primal, it's
Mhm.
like this desire that we instinctively have that so many of us don't feed, especially in a time like this where we're just sitting around, lounging, whatever.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I
Yeah.
spent the whole afternoon yesterday in self-care. I had my little dance party. I took a shower and washed my hair, which is like a 1 week occurrence for me. The washing hair, not taking a shower. um,
Got thick
and
hair.
then
You got
yes. And then I like exfoliated my whole body and did some yoga and meditated. And then I just felt super inspired to start writing after, because it was like I had filled my own cup up and I just had this excess. I had this overflow of this beautiful healing energy. So
Right.
there's so many different ways that you can love on yourself and take care of yourself, and now is the time to do that.
That's right. And something me and my son Edward did this morning. You know what? I got up, I made some breakfast, and we just got done eating. I had a little bit of coffee, so I was feeling energized. And I was like, all right, Edward, let's go for a walk. Because even though we're in self quarantine, we're social distancing, but luckily there's this nice open pathway right behind my neighborhood, basically right behind my house. And so
Nice.
as Edward and I were just taking a short little walk and not a person in sight, we discovered this beautiful big old oak tree with these awesome winding low-hanging branches that Edward could play on, that we were just admiring this oak tree, just like, wow, this is such a cool tree, and just loving on it. And in the midst of that, I had this moment that made me tear up for a second there, because my son is just reminding me how beautiful and pure he is, because he's like, "You know what? This tree, I'm gonna name him. I wanna name him Ryan. Ryan the tree."
Oh,
And
he's so
he was
cute.
so cute, and then he takes a moment, 'cause he's sitting on one of the low-hanging branches. He kinda just, like, puts his head on the branch and is just chilling out, not straight on hugging the tree, but he's being present with the tree. And then he says, "I like Ryan. Good boy, Ryan." It was so
That's
cute,
so
and
cute.
that just made
Oh,
my heart so full, and it made me appreciate, one those small moments. And in a time like this, to be able to have moments like that is, I think, so important, and I hope our listeners out there and so many people out there right now are appreciating little things like that. And I think it is about being present, being in the moment, valuing what is around you rather than what's not around you.
totally. It really all comes back to abundance mindset. And I've actually been listening to a abundance mindset meditation from Bob Proctor, and I just posted it in the Vivid Vibes Tribe Facebook group. So if any of you guys want to check that out, we started this Facebook group where we can continue the conversations after the podcast episodes, and we'll post things like meditations and just little uplifting things so we can just stay connected and help lift each other's vibration. It's called Vivid Vibes Tribe. But anyways, this meditation, uh one thing that is really present in this meditation and in a lot of the spiritual self-help kind of things that I read is visualization. So we're extremely fortunate to be in a place where we have the option to go walk around. A
Mhm.
lot of places right now are on quarantine, and my dad actually is in the healthcare industry, and the Surgeon General sent out a letter for healthcare professionals uh, earlier today. And I say this not to strike fear, but to inform. The Surgeon General sent out a letter today, um, for residents of Florida who work in the healthcare profession, to give them permission to drive to and from work, because it's a possibility that we could all end up on lockdown.
Mhm.
So, if that is the case, if we do end up quarantined in our homes, visualization is such an amazing and beautiful tool, not only for manifestation, but for mental health. Because here's what's crazy about visualization. Your mind does not know the difference between you visualizing something and it having actually happened.
Mhm.
So, wherever you wish you were, and wherever you want to go, and whatever you even want to achieve, take a moment, meditate, close your eyes, maybe even do this meditation that's in the Facebook group, this Bob Proctor meditation, and just close your eyes and see yourself where it is you want to be. And I think this tool will be an amazing tool for not just escaping the grips of quarantine, but also manifesting how we want things to be when all of this is over. If
Right.
we're imagining ourselves in an abundant place with an abundance of everything we need, an abundance of healthy relationships, resources, food, then we are so much more likely to manifest that in reality.
Right. And I agree. And that is that's what I do with my hypnosis work. When I do my hypnosis work, say I do a hypnosis session with an individual, all you are doing is going into your subconscious mind and visualizing these things. And it is such a strong, valuable tool to uncover what you need to reflect on inwardly, even if it is finding yourself visualizing yourself on a beach or at someone else's home that you'd rather be at. That can really change how you move forward in the present moment by knowing you have that resource in the back of your own mind. It's
Yeah.
incredible. And gosh, I am so excited for where we're going after we do come out of this based off of all this creativity that's flowing along with the visualizations.
Totally. People are really having to get creative right now. And that being said, as well, a lot of yoga studios and a lot of yoga teachers are offering online classes.
Mhm.
And I actually will be doing all of my classes online. They will be free, and you can find out more about that at zenmassageandyoga.com. So if you want to sign up for any of those classes, again, they're free. I highly encourage you to try a meditation practice, try a yoga practice, try something that maybe you've never tried before. Again, while you're at home, like, what else are you going to do? You
Right.
know, like, I've been binging the Netflix. Don't get me wrong, but, like, you gotta make time to move your body around a little bit, you know? We
Yeah.
don't wanna turn into potatoes.
No, that's right. Oh, and another thing, so with me, I often go to market events, restaurants, kava bars, other locations doing tarot card readings publicly, and we've mentioned that already. But now I'm shifting to offering those online, remote readings. So if anybody wants to contact me, you can find out more information about me either by visiting our Vivid Vibes Facebook or Instagram, or as well as just finding me on my hypnosis page. It's Laura Hypnosis, Lora Hypnosis. I have that on my Facebook and Instagram as well. And anybody can reach out to me if they want a personal reading done because I know a lot of people might be seeking out some answers to how do they handle situations like this on a more personal level. And you know what? I decided that right now I love seeing that everybody's kind of offering what they can for free, 'cause I mean, and the other thing we're gonna have to deal with once this is over is the economic impact that we're all gonna be facing. It's not gonna be the same as it was before. So if we are all seeing what we can offer for free, can you imagine what we can manifest for our society going forward if everybody realizes, "Oh, we can all just give what we can give, and we will be provided what we can be provided with." Like, to me, that's a beautiful vision that I like to try to manifest for things to come. Like, community gardens. That's gonna be a
Yeah.
thing. Like, I've been seeing so many people post on creating new Facebook groups and whatnot about, like, these community garden projects and other resources, finding what's available around them, and everybody just kind of pitching in and putting their input. And like, oh my gosh, we can transform society for the better, like for everyone coming out of this, I feel.
I think this is going to give people a good idea of what's really important
Mm-hmm.
because you can't eat money,
That is right.
but you can technically wipe your ass with it. Oh my god. That's not to say that money is bad though. I was just
That was good. Run out of TP, get the money out.
Oh my god, where's my Benjamins? No, I'm just kidding. No, like, money is definitely a stream of abundance, and we all deserve abundance. Abundance is our birthright.
Mhm.
But I think this is just giving us an idea of like what is really important. Our health is important, and
Mhm.
food is important, and quality time with loved ones is important, and time to slow down is important.
Right.
And this is just really giving us an idea of that. So yeah, self-care, holding a vision for how you want things to turn out of all of this, and more self-care. Do you have anything else to add, Laura?
Gosh. I mean, I feel like with this we could go on and on and on. There's so much out there, especially with this being such a new ongoing event. All I can think of is remember to stay connected with those around you, those that you care about most. Stay in contact, even if it's long distance, knowing that you are not alone in all of this is going to get us through this, because no one, it's not just one person going through this difficult time. um, we're all in this together. We're all trying to do our part in helping humanity get through it and go through it and get to the other side. We can all just do what we can and love each other more for it.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for listening to this episode of Vivid Vibes Podcast. If you like this episode, please head over to the iTunes store and write us a review. We would love that so much.
Yes, please.
Also, feel free to visit the Vivid Vibes tribe. It's open for anyone to join, and we can go ahead and continue the conversation after these episodes. We'd love to speak to you and get your input about future episodes and guests and all that good stuff. So stay safe, stay inside, and take care of yourselves, guys. Namaste.
Namaste.